can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here. I'm founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders of P90X, Baby Einstein, Atari, many more, how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Today we have Lafe Larson. He's founder of Lafes Natural BodyCare. He started the company over 23 years ago with a $15,000 loan from his family. I found Lafes because I was on a constant search for a natural deodorant that actually worked. That's the key. I've tried a lot of them. Most of them don't work. And because I was reading, there's a huge amount of toxicity in using regular deodorant. And I found a friend recommended Lafes, and this stuff actually works. And so I want to have you on, Lafe, to tell your stories and your journey. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to be on, Jeremy.
So, Lafe, I always ask with Inspired Insider, what's been the lowest point, and then how you pushed through the tough time?
I think the hardest part for me was going through a difficult divorce back in 1990. 3 young children, just a personal struggle.
Yeah.
It was a difficult divorce. It dragged on for a while. It was fairly contested divorce. I was just starting my business, and I didn't say really settle until the mid '90s, and there was very few resources trying to start my business, traveling across the state, being a single father with 3 young children.
Jeez,
it was a challenge.
How do you do that? Yeah,
I scheduled my travel. I traveled as the state as a sales rep, and I scheduled my travel when my children were with their mom, and I'd leave on Monday and come back on Wednesday or Thursday from a trip. So on my weekend, I'd be there for them. A couple of times I couldn't get back. I couldn't get back into town in time from when school got out. So I called the local taxi cab company, and the cab company said, "Yeah, you can set up an account, and we'll just transport your kids from school home, and that's fine." So I arranged those kinds of things, but it was a very difficult personal time for me, and I felt it's the right thing I did. I had to do it, but my kids were very young, and I was just very, it was hard to make that decision. But I felt it for my own personal health and well-being. I had to move forward, and have no regrets today for having done that. My kids are all growing up and pretty happy and pretty healthy.
That's tough to do at any point, probably, however old the children are, to go through something like that.
Well, they used to say that if you're starting a business, you need to have at least one stable source of income.
Sure.
And I didn't have that because I was single, so it was just my income. So there were times when I remember having to I'd wash the clothes in the laundromat, and I would just hang dry everything. Because I didn't have the extra coins to put them in the dryer.
Wow.
I remember the bath towels, when they hang dry like that, they would just get so stiff and so coarse that when you would first use a bath towel, it didn't feel very good. But when one does what they have to do,
yeah,
that's how I looked at it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I appreciate you. That's a tough thing to share. I appreciate you sharing that, because that's the reality, right? For people, it's not just you have a business, you are dealing with personal things, along with building your business,
Everybody goes through struggles like that.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Different kinds of struggles, of course, people go through: financial, marriage.
What advice do you give to someone, let's say right now they're building their business and they're going through a divorce situation? How did you mentally get through it? It's not easy.
It's not. My suggestion is to try to stay focused.
Did you have someone that you called, this person's going to knock some sense into me when you're feeling overwhelmed, or what did you do? Because I would feel for me, overwhelmed with overtake me at that point, you know?
I had some good friends that I could lean on that could help advise me and when I was upset, calm me down and teach sense and help me talk through my stuff, and also listen to me talk about my business, because my business was what was really the thing that was propelling me forward and creating sort of my inspiration to keep going. And they were supportive and said, Lafe, look at the achievements. You've got this new account, you've got that new account, you're launching this. Those kinds of things I think were really important. And I think we all have those things, and we need to take advantage of those opportunities where we got a friend and listening ear that can help sort of help us as we share our things. But I think everybody goes through their tough times, and I think that builds character. I mean, I really think it does. I think I not having gone through that, I'm sure I'd be a different person today. And although at the time I wasn't grateful for doing it.
Yeah, I would I wish this on my enemy type of thing.
It's just one of those things that I think it helps me. It gives me a better perspective now, especially when I see people going through that. I mean, I'm much more empathetic and much more understanding for others.
Yeah. So on the flip side, Lafe, what's been one of the proudest moments?
I think when we hit the $1 million sales mark in my company, that was an achievement that made me very proud of me. I said to myself, I can't believe I'm selling $1 million worth of product. I mean,
that is amazing.
In all these years, and I started in my bedroom and waiting for that fax machine to ring, and there were times I couldn't pay myself. I was late on paying my rent, and then when I bought a house, I had to struggle with the mortgage payment and taking care of all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Starting out, and you're young and you don't have deep pockets. But I think hitting that mark was really significant for me, because it told me that all this blood, sweat, and tears that I've gone through is really paying for itself.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to see significant growth year over year.
Yeah.
So it allows us to keep growing, and we think we hope to be a significant, even a larger brand in the natural marketplace.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, because people only see presently what things look like with this probably nice commercial space and everything else and everything systemized. And they don't realize you were in your bedroom with a fax machine and packing products. I want that to be a part of your new employee welcome implementation. Like, they should know where this started, and so they don't take it for granted that, you walk into this nice commercial facility. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I walk into companies that are small and growing, and I look at if they have a really fancy office, I say, I wonder, they're spending a lot of money on glitz and the look. But really, I think what's important is put the money behind the brand and the product. Mm-hmm. And the wealth and the resources will come eventually. Yeah. I think the thing I would say for people starting up is the importance of having a good, healthy daily routine.
Yeah, I want to ask what your daily routine is actually, specifically with some of maybe the health related products, type of supplements, food. What do you do daily?
I eat healthy. I eat a yogurt, blueberries, and cereal in the morning. I eat a healthy lunch. I'm not a vegetarian. I do eat meat at night, but I'm really careful what I eat. I work out. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. My wife says, the gym is your mistress, and I said, yeah, it's also my time to be by myself. I can get inside my head. I can read. I can do those kind of things. No one's going to talk to me. The phone's not going to ring. I don't have to worry about answering an email. I'm there with just myself, and having that conversation that one has with themselves about things, work through stuff. But I make sure I go to the gym.
What do you do? Do you do weights, cardiovascular? What do you?
Weights twice a week. I do cardio, bike or run or something. I used to run. I used to do some long runs. I used to do some half marathons. But as I get older, it's more and more difficult for my body to hold up with those long pounding runs. So, but for years I've been doing. I started I think when I started my business, I started doing a regular workout routine, and I can't emphasize how important it is just to keep you healthy. And also, it's emotionally, it clears your head. It gives you a clear head.
Stress relief, yeah.
Yeah, it makes you can think more clearly and make better decisions when your head has been cleared. And sleep. I also am a big believer that these guys who say they get by on 4 and 5 hours of sleep, no, I don't buy that. Got to get a good, healthy night's rest. Really be healthy.
So, do you take any vitamin supplements?
Do take vitamins. I take a daily. I take calcium. I take vitamin D. I take just a sort of general supplements, a handful of general supplements every day.
Yeah. So, who are some of your mentors that you lean on when you need business advice these days, and what do they tell you?
I think there's a couple of mentors out there. One would be my grandfather, O.E.T. Tweed, who I never met, who was my mother's father. Very successful farmer, businessman, and she would always tell me stories about him when I was growing up, and I kind of see myself as kind of following in his footsteps. A smart businessman, he looked around to see where there was an opportunity. He was a very honest businessman. He used to, she would tell me that he would take the cattle to market, the way you would sell your cattle back then, when you put them on the train and you'd ride the train from South Dakota to Chicago, which is like a two-day train ride. And he would wear a suit on that train ride.
Really?
Farmer with cattle in the back of the train was wearing a suit because he just saw himself as a successful businessman, and he dressed like one, and he very much was one. So he was, I think, somebody who was a good mentor. I think the president of my high school, that was a kind of a special. It was a private high school that had gone through a serious transformation from being almost a monastery school to my freshman year. They were bringing inner city kids from around the country. It was a Christian high school, but the notion being is troubled kids that don't have homes or have difficult homes. It was a residential high school. We'd bring them in, and a guy named Bob Nervig had just come in as the new president. He was a person that just loved and accepted everybody who was out there, no matter what your background, no matter how much trouble you were in, no matter what kind of person you were. He just felt that if we love you and care for you, you're going to turn out to be an okay person. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget just watching how he operated. And people loved him. Everybody that ever met the guy loved and respected him just because of his outgoing approach. Short, heavy-set, balding guy was he wasn't just loving, but he respected people.
Yeah.
And even unruly freshmen, sophomores in high school that should have been put in a juvenile
disciplined, yeah.
Took them in, and he showed them there's another way. And these are kids who had never had really anybody give them any guidance and support. But that showed me the power of change that the human being can bring to others. And I think that was something that was just has always stuck with me throughout life.
Yeah. What about these days? Who do you turn to if you want some kind of advice on the business that you trust?
That's there are Branson. I think Branson is an amazing businessman. I really respect what he's done. I don't know how he's done that. I think people who've sort of created small businesses and made them grow out there. There's a lot of them out there. I really respect and admire what they've done, how they've done it. One guy that I really admire and respect is Darren Hardy with Success Magazine. Read his stuff, and he just shares information and knowledge and helps inspire me to become a better person and more effective in what I do and how I deal with people, like anybody else. And it's not that he's telling you what to do or how to do it. He's sharing others that are successful,
right?
And how what they encourage you to consider doing, or what they guidance and support or suggestions.
Yeah,
I think Darren is I just admire what he's done, how he's built that whole enterprise up in terms of teaching people. And I get very inspired, and even I share the magazines with my children who are in their 20s, and sometimes they get really upset about they work for. Well, one son works for a car dealership, and he said that they have their favorites, and then the favorites get all the leads and nobody else does, and how unfair it is. And I say, read Success Magazine. You got to believe in yourself, if the place is not, if it's so uncomfortable to work for this place, go out and find another job. There's other opportunities. Don't feel you're stuck.
Right.
But that's success, I think, inspires me and inspires others. Yeah. You can do whatever you set out to do. You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah. Lafe, this has been absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it. I have one last question for you. But first, where can we send people? Where should they check out Lafe's products?
As we mentioned, health food stores like the Whole Foods. And if they're in a store and the product isn't available, most health food stores can order through their distributor because we're listed with all the major distributors at lafes.com, Lafes.com. And if that website, sometimes it'll give you a glitch, just call the 800 number. Our customer service people will be glad to help you over the phone if the order doesn't go through on a website. But that's where we are. We're out there, and you can you find us.
Lafes, Lafes.com. So last question, Lafe, is what are you most excited about for the future of Lafes?
I'm excited about the new product launches that we're going to be doing this fall. The new wet shampoo.
Can you talk about the dry shampoo?
It's the Earthly Delight, the company we purchased. We're going to relaunch it with a different brand, a different aroma, and put it in a tube, not a bottle. So it's going to be kind of a different kind of a product. And we're going to create a hair care system because that's what people really need when it comes to hair care. That's our number one launch. Our second one is going to be the Slow Grow product. That it's innovative. People are looking for a product like that. Women especially who shave their legs, shave their underarms. We've taught this idea for probably a year, and people say, phenomenal idea. I can go buy this stuff at the salon for $35 and it's full of chemicals, or hopefully I can buy it from you for a fraction of that and it's all natural. Yeah. So it's our making products that people feel good about, that they will use and they'll share, and knowing it's going to make for a healthier individual and a healthier society. Yeah. Less disease, less cancer, less of those kinds of things because we aren't introducing toxic chemicals.
Right. Yeah. Well, I am a customer and a fan, so I really appreciate it. Lafe, thank you so much.
Jeremy, it's really been a pleasure. Thank you again.
So you were saying the craziest thing you forgot to mention, so go ahead.
I had we were snagged in a lawsuit a few years ago around the word organic. They were they sued a whole number of companies because they were claiming their product was organic, but there was nothing in the product that was organic certified. We use the term organic in our brand mark, which is different than and so we weren't making a claim about the product. It was simply in our brand mark. But we were snagged in this lawsuit nonetheless with some of the biggest brands in natural out there. We hired the legal counsel. We were spending tons and tons of money. They are about 5 or 6 small brands, and they're really the big brands in natural. And we all had the same legal counsel, folks working together. We were all being charged the same fees. And we said, we the smaller brands were saying, listen, we're a 10th, a 20th the size of these big folks, and you want us to settle this lawsuit for $20,000. For me to write a check for $20,000 is a big deal. If you're a $50 million brand, a $20,000 check is nothing. So anyway, so it dragged on and on. And finally, I just got to the end of it. And I fired my legal counsel. And the guy came back to me and said, Lafe, that was the smartest. He was really nice. He came back on the private side. He said, you were smart to fire me because it wasn't worth you paying for it. Although it's illegal for you not to have legal counsel in a California lawsuit, you were smart to fire me because it was going nowhere, and you were going to be charged these huge fees. So it went on for a while longer, and I just dealt with the people directly. Finally, I got really upset, and I decided I'm just going to. I don't know. Something happened that day, and I was just tired of this whole lawsuit dragging on and more legal fees. The opposing counsel was trying to get us to pay additional fees. So I went down to the health food store. I bought an organic turnip. And I put it in a FedEx envelope, and I overnighted it to the lead counsel. I says, you just can't squeeze blood out of a fucking turnip. I was just so angry that this thing dragged on. And he got it, and I called him 2 days later, and I said, I'm just going to settle this for $500. His assistant got on the phone. He said, I've never seen anything like that before. He agreed to settle.
That's amazing.
It was just one of those kind of things where intuitively I had to do something, and I was so frustrated by this process. It was dragging me down emotionally. The financial hit was becoming more significant. So don't be afraid to try something outlandish and crazy and in the end, the court ruled that you can use the word organic. They validated our position, which is organic in your brand mark is fine. So
tens of thousands of dollars later, you seem like one of the nicest people. So if you were extremely upset, it must have been just the worst situation. So
I was quite upset.
Wow. I love that. If you were in trouble, just send someone a turnip and put the note.
Yeah.
Can't squeeze blood from a turnip. Thank you, Lafe. I appreciate that.
Thought I'd mention that. So
what I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand.